You've come to the right place for the brightest stars, biggest shows, and amazing musical performances. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and it's the Broadway Show, so here we go.
This time I'm staying for good.
It's your last chance to see this incredible new production of Sunset Boulevard on Broadway, and you've never seen anything like it. Let's send it out to Paul Wontorek.
Well, welcome to Broadway, Tom. What does Broadway mean to a young British theater star like yourself?
I mean, it's kind of like the dream back home. Everyone always wants to be on Broadway. It feels like an unattainable dream, and I can't really believe that it's happening.
So who is Joe Gillis?
He's a very, very complicated man. He's so disillusioned with everything, but then finds this beautiful woman and just falls in love, and he just is stuck between a rock and a hard place. And
which beautiful woman are you speaking of?
both of them.
Right.
And yeah, he just finds himself in an incredibly sticky situation where one woman's promising him one thing, but he kind of wants another thing, and it's how he deals with all of the trials and tribulations.
What I love about this production is, and don't take this wrong, but there's sort of a dead-in-the-face quality to the ensemble and to you and to Joe. Joe is just sort of like he's drained.
Yeah.
And it's really compelling.
Yeah.
Was that sort of something?
Definitely a discussion that we had. It's really fun to play as well.
Yeah.
And it also makes the switch up between when we're on camera to when we're not on camera way easier. Everything's just always in the eyes, always. And it's just about that stillness and the sort of, like you say, the sort of glazed over.
Was there a chemistry test with Nicole? Did you
No,
meet
we had
her
nothing.
prior to?
I met her on the first day of rehearsals.
Wow. And you said, when's your birthday?
And we were like 29th of June.
You both have the same birthday.
We have the same birthday. And she is like a sister to me now, which is great. So yeah, but we just clicked. We really clicked, and I just love going on stage with her every single night. She's the best scene partner you could ever wish for. Like, she just turns up, and she'll like come up to me, and she'll like before the show, and she'll be like, "I'm tired today, Tom." You know how she talks? Like, she's so soft. She's so softly spoken, and she's like, "I'm so tired," and I'm like, "Okay." And then she just comes out and does With One Look, and I'm like, "You're not tired, are you?" Like, you're just coming in and just destroying it every single night.
I've actually heard you say she eats you alive on stage.
Yeah, she does. If you don't turn up, she eats you alive, and it is so true. But she's so great.
During the crazy standing ovations at the end of Sunset Boulevard, you're on stage, you're in your underwear, there's blood on your chest, and you're just staying super serious. Is there ever a party that just wants to be like, "Thanks for coming, guys"? You're all very like...
No, there's not. Sometimes when we did like tech and stuff, there was like one day where I thought it'd be funny to do it, and there was no one in the audience because it was a tech thing and we'd just done it. And
a lighter version.
I came down, I did this, and it felt so wrong. It felt so wrong. I'm not going to do that again. Yeah, no, the serious bows. We've got to keep them serious.
It's one of the most talked about plays of the season. Playwright Brandon Jacobs Jenkins is back with the new play Purpose. I had a chance to sit down with one of the stars, LaTanya Richardson Jackson. So I'm so thrilled. You know, I heard this play described as the perfectly written play.
It is the perfectly written play by Brandon Jacobs Jenkins. He is a phenomenal writer, totally prolific, and incredibly genius. As an actor, well, first of all, as a director, this is the kind of piece that I think Felicia would not give up the reins to, because when I first heard that was asked to do the piece, I said, "Oh, do they want me to direct it and let Felicia be in it?" And they were like, "No, and don't say that to her." I was like, well, I can see her playing Claudine, because I read it and said,
"Are you
either
sure?"
way, either way, I'm attached to this. But it's something that you're just drawn to, that you never really even think about getting. It used to be a dream. You know, most actors just want a job, so you just get that. And sometimes you get that dream, and this is the dream.
How did this come across your desk?
I had a surgery. I had stones. Gallbladder.
Gallbladder? Okay, gallbladder.
Dear God.
We got it.
They found those. So I did that. And next thing I know, I got a call that said, "We want you to do this play, blah, blah, blah." And my doctor was like saying, well, I don't know about you doing the play because you got these gallstones. What are we going to do about them? I said, we're going to take them out because I'm going to do this play. Once I read the, the script they sent, I said, oh no, I'm doing this, but I can't. He said, but you're asymptomatic.
Right.
We don't even know how long they've been there. You just want to elect. I said, I'm electing to do this surgery. So we did the surgery. I told him yes. And then I had talked to my doctor. I said, okay, this rehearsal starts on January 21st. He said, that's the 2-week mark of having the surgery. He said, we have to do, that'll be your comeback talk to me. I said, we'll do it by Zoom.
I'll be in the theater.
I'll be at the theater. And we did.
I love that.
And we
amazing.
did. And it's been an incredible, I said, because somehow God has dropped this in my lap. And my purpose is to be there.
How are you feeling about audience response? Because it just has to be
The audience is incredible.
Yeah.
They are. They're so good. They're so inviting.
The cast is incredible. The show is incredible. The writing is incredible.
This is it.
You're incredible.
No, listen, thank you. This is the convergence of 3 great ideas, the playwright, the writer, and the cast. So, and then the audience comes in and provides a different dynamic for you. They're like the sounding board of everything that you have to give out. And they give it back to you, you know what I mean? You can feel the weight in the room.
When you look around and you've got the cast around you, and I'm sure that there's like so many lessons you learn from each other with an intergenerational cast, and you've got young people in the cast. Is that interesting to watch technique and what you learn? Or
Let
how
me
does it all
tell you,
work?
one night, because I was watching Cara, and we were in a scene, I was like sitting there, and you do sometimes, because Brandon even asked, he said, I wonder what actors think when you're like having to do your line and you're trying to stay in character. I said, you do what everybody else is doing. I said, but unfortunately, actors cannot afford to watch the play.
Right.
I was watching the play. I sat down and I said, oh, wow, look at her. Oh, she is going after this. Oh, this is like, oh, amazing. Oh, look how she just said that. I am just in awe of her. Oh, and I heard Harry say, familiar. And I said, oh, excuse me. It's my line. Oh.
I'm not watching it.
I'm familiar. I feel familiar about it. And I could see her get ready to laugh. I said, I was watching you. You can't do that. You can't watch the people, and you can't do a grocery list when you're waiting on your line, because you will go up every time.
I love that, though, but I always wondered that. So
You'll go up. You have to stay focused. You have to stay focused, because the minute you pull yourself out, you're out.
You're right.
You're out.
It was like she was someone you'd always know. It was like you were holding the world when you held her.
In Hadestown, a song can change your fate. The 2019 Tony Award winner for Best Musical still one of Broadway's hottest tickets. Here's Perry Sook.
Hadestown's Tony Award-winning score is truly worth the hype. And the band not only plays it, but feels like another character in the show. I'm headed inside the Walter Kerr to go catch up with one of the astounding members of the Hadestown band. So we're here on the set, literally within an hour of curtain, with the guitarist here at Hadestown, Ilusha Tsinadze. Thank you so much for the time today.
My pleasure.
So I gotta say, we're inches away from where you sit throughout the entire show. What is it like being such a pivotal part? You're not in a pit, you're not isolated, you're here playing guitar on the stage.
I love being able to see the cast as I'm playing and look out across the stage to all the other musicians and see the audience. The set itself is a bar, more or less. So I feel like I'm playing in a bar band in front of 1,000 people.
How do you go about mixing? You don't have the conductor, you aren't all there in the pit. How do you go about making sure everyone's together, making sure the levels are great and everything when you're here on the stage in the action?
The piano player is also works as the conductor, and he's got a little camera on him, and everybody can see him from the stage and all around. But we also have these in-ear monitors that we can ride the volume of all the musicians, the singers, even the audience level we can ride as we're playing, so we can hear everything.
Music is such an integral part of this show, because Orpheus is a musician himself. You actually help coach the Orpheuses, Orphei, I don't even know how to say the plural of that, when they play the guitar. What is that process like, taking maybe a singer who's never played before and kind of coaching them up to be this Greek musician?
I've been teaching for a really long time. I've had students since, I was in college actually. It's I first started, being a professional musician early on. I've always had students. And I've gotten to teach some of the Orpheuses that have done the tour, the understudies here. It's always been really interesting and just pure pleasure to work with them.
Are there any moments that you get caught up in the musical, in the magic of Orpheus, that it's almost hard to maintain the band, or is it all business as usual?
Of course, there's always elements of surprise, so I have to
live theater.
Yeah, exactly. You have to keep a lookout for things. There's always something that can come up, and that's very exciting, and I sort of welcome it at this point. Listening is the key for me to be able to play the show well. I have to be in tune with especially the drummer, bass player, piano player. That's the rhythm section that I'm part of. So I have to be totally locked into how they're feeling the rhythm. And at this point, I've done it over 500 times or something like that. But it's still like every single time you have to give it your all to make it sound good.
So obviously we're here, we're on a Broadway stage, you're in your first Broadway show, but I gotta ask you, what does Broadway mean to you?
I'm somewhat new to the Broadway world, but this sense of community here, it's kind of like going to camp, being at work. There's the love between all the different people that work here, in the cast, in the band, in the crew, people front of house, back of house. There's such a overwhelming sense of community, and not to mention the audiences that come to every show. So it's been a very lovely experience for me to be part of this family.
Broadway is still rumbling with the Tony Award-winning Best Musical, The Outsiders. So let's head out to the theater for a backstage tour.
Hi. My name is Jason Schmidt. I play Soda Pop Curtis in The Outsiders on Broadway, and you're watching the freaking Broadway Show, and this is my freaking Broadway show. The first stop on our tour of the backstage area is the stage management office, where the things really happen. This is where I found out I was allergic to peanut butter, fun fact. Was eating these things for months, and then went to the doctor, and they were like, you should probably stop eating peanut butter because your body can't process it. And now for some questions. Emily, while I'm on stage doing who knows freaking what during this show, what are you doing back here or over on the side of the stage?
Well, Mark, who's the other stage manager who is not pictured, who's not like being on camera, he and I typically trade off who is calling the show, which means any sort of like light cues or some sound cues. And otherwise, I'm running around, making sure that people are where they need to be when they need to be.
Beverly, what are you doing while they're calling the show?
Sometimes I call the show. When I don't call the show, I am in the office, so I'm watching the show and taking notes. If I am in the office, which is a lot, I am there's a lot of paperwork that goes on with being a stage manager. There's a lot of communication that goes on with being a stage manager. There's a lot of being a mom for me that goes on with being a stage manager, so I do all those things.
Welcome. This is the pit, the orchestra pit, and this is where Freddie and Mark live. They live here and they sleep here. I'm gonna let Freddie take control of this microphone as he takes you through what is the orchestra pit.
Okay, Mark and I will show you. This is our joy corner. This is where Mark and I sit, actually. Behind this wall, though, this really cool wall full of pictures.
Did you take those?
Yeah, I took all these pictures. You're in a ton of them, actually. We have a real piano in this pit, which is pretty rare for a Broadway musical.
Steady go! This is where Jamie, our drummer, is housed. This is where he plays all of his drums and cymbals and scrapes and what we call screes. And we got Mohan over here repping Alex on bass.
Welcome to my dressing room. We got a lot of different things in our dressing room. Me and Daryl. This is me and Daryl. And this is me and Daryl. And this is me and Daryl. And that's me and Daryl. This is my roommate, Daryl.
Hi, I'm Daryl.
And this is our room. I said it was my room earlier, and then I was like, and Daryl's room. Get it back in here, bro. Daryl, is there anything you would like to show in our dressing room?
My favorite one, and I'm sorry to everybody else who's giving me a gift, but this one goes crazy. But this photo right here, it's literally what I do in the show. And they did such a good job on the artwork and everything. But yeah, I mean, I love rooming with this boy right here.
So now we gotta go get ready for a show.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming with me on this journey.
Go Broadway.
Go Broadway.
The Jimmy Awards is a huge and amazing event that happens in New York City every year, featuring the absolute best of the best musical theater talents from high schools all across America.
Go see a musical, a puppy piece releasing all your musicals.
Now, on the lead up to the Jimmys, the Broadway show shines a spotlight on the students and the cities and the impact these competitions and awards have on those amazing teens. On our final stop on the road to the Jimmys, we're in Cleveland, where students are stepping into the spotlight with drive, discipline, and a deep love for the craft, ready to take their shot at Broadway's biggest stage.
So the Dazzle Awards are presented by Pat and John Chapman with support by PNC here at Playhouse Square in beautiful Cleveland, Ohio. And this is a program that really celebrates excellence in high school musical theater. There's a couple of special opportunities that we've incorporated into the Dazzle Awards 10th anniversary. We've got a special opening number unlike anything we have ever done before. We are going to shut down Euclid Avenue, the main fairway here in Cleveland, Ohio, and we are going to have students dancing underneath the chandelier who are in this show. And we've got Conor Gallagher, who is an incredible choreographer. He's choreographed Beetlejuice on Broadway and all over the world. He's going to be staging this number in the streets with these students as they're dancing under the chandelier toward the theater. They're going to actually come in through the entranceway, down through the lobby, and then when the doors are open, if we get the cue just right, the video that everyone will see on the screen will be timed perfectly so that when the back of those doors open, those students will become dancing down the aisles and up on the stage. It is going to be spectacular.
The Dazzle Awards has allowed our students to see what is achievable in the professional industry and beyond. And it's given them a drive that is unlike any other. And they're now competing with themselves. They want to grow. They want to get better. They want to hone those skills that are going to improve their talent. They want to be that teammate for that friend. They have a connection to their community, and the connection to the community, in my opinion, is the most important part.
I think it's a wonderful way to celebrate high school performing. When I grew up in the theater, there was nothing like this. As a performer, as somebody who wanted to go into the arts, I didn't really see people celebrating that. It felt more like a hobby, something that wasn't really something I could experience or make a living in. So to come here to be a part of this and really lift these performers up and show people that, yes, not only can you make this a living, there are skills that you're learning as a performer and by living in the arts and working in the arts that are teaching you about all the things that make us a better human just out walking around in the world.
I think it's so important for students to be participating in these programs like the Dazzle Awards and for schools to offer them, because I feel like theater is the best way to teach people empathy, and I think bringing people together to just be people and just do what people do is so awesome, and it's so easy to lose that, and kids who are passionate about it are gonna be the people that are making change in the world, that are the people who feel things for other people instead of just being locked into the phone all the time. I think it's just so important to keep community alive, to keep connection alive, because those are just the most important things of being alive.
And that's going to do it for us. But for tickets, or if you want to see extended cuts of all these interviews, head over to Broadway.com. And be sure to check out The Broadway Show, uncut, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.